I am starting the video now. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to Mr. Hunter 2 in chat on the Elder Scrolls Legends. Shout out to him. He has actually asked me a very important question. I'm not going to go through our whole entire chat conversation. He's coming from Hearthstone, and he wants to know what cards can he get rid of to make his Mage Prophecy deck. Now, I made a video about this a few months back when Legend was still early in beta, about what cards can you soul trap to get gems to buy better cards to make you deck you want to make. You know, something for the meta. He's trying to make a Prophecy Mage deck. So I've done this before in the past, but now with the expansions coming on the way, we got Heroes of Skyrim and much more. I think it's about time I go back and actually go over some of these cards that have been added into Legends, and just in general, which cards can you feel okay with in getting rid of to go ahead and make decks that are going to play better for you, especially if you're new to the game. You're not going to have everything unlocked and you're trying to decide which card should I 100% keep and which card should I 100% get rid of. I think that's what he's kind of asked me when he say Dust. Remember guys, I never played Hearthstone, so if Dust doesn't mean Soul Trap, I am apologizing for that right there. So first thing first though, guys, before we even get into which cards to get rid of, if you guys don't know, for the newcomers out there, I need to start my series again. You could play every single day. You could get 300 soul gems from playing the practice mode. Another great way to do it is Soul Arena. Soul Arena actually works you pretty darn well. Even once you get up to higher ranking in Soul Arena, it's still pretty easy. So Soul Arena is not a bad way to go about it. So with that out of the way, guys, if you guys didn't already know, let's get into it. We're going to start off with Intelligence and Willpower. And the reason for this, guys, remember I always do my videos quite casual, is because he actually wants to make a Mage Prophecy deck. And we're going to start off with the legendary cards just because it's going to be simple. So let's say you get some legendary cards from packs. Which legendary cards could you 100% keep? And we're going to go from legendary to rare to common and so on and so forth. All right? So for Willpower, I would say always, especially if you're going for a Prophecy Mage deck, you're going to want to keep something like Mirek, the Dragonborn. You only can have one of them. This is a card you should never soul trap. Always keep this card if you have a chance. Now here's an alternate to that. This card, Renowned Liege. This is a card that's only going to work out in very specific decks. Sometimes it works really well in Willpower and Endurance decks. So I'm going to say go ahead and get rid of this card if you get it in a pack. If you have a bunch of them, I would say this is a card you can feel free to soul trap if you do not need it. There's very few decks out there that play on rank that uses on a constant basis. I'm not saying that the card cannot be used, but I felt very okay soul trapping this early on in the game to get some soul gems to get better cards. This is personally my favorite card in the game. It's not played very much by many other players in rank. So if you're not feeling like you're going to really need the extra help for the extra item, you can feel free to soul trap it. You could keep one, but if you have one, I could say soul trap if it doesn't really work well in your deck. And it's not going to really work well in a Mage Prophecy deck anyway. So I'm going to say it's okay to get rid of this one. Okay, if you get the Black Dragon, I would definitely say keep this card. Do not at all. Definitely do not get rid of this. It's a really cool, unique card. Especially most of the unique cards I would definitely get to say to keep. Dawnbreaker is not a bad card, but overall I played through over, I would say, 7 months of the game without really having this consistently in my deck. There's so many other ways to get items in this deck, especially if you're having with a red deck where you could basically just get it from using the 2-cost Plunder. You could get it from there. There's a lot of other ways to get items in this game, obviously from him right here, that I would say that you could feel okay actually soul trapping this and actually getting some soul gems off the bat. One of my other favorite cards, Descendant of Akatosh, I would definitely say you should keep these cards for later use. I don't see it being used very much in rank these days, but I have so much luck using these. I think they're great for anything like Pillifer. You're not going to need it in a mage deck right now, so for your question, Mr. Hand, I will say it's okay. Mr. Hunter, sorry, Hunter 2. I would say it would be okay if you got rid of it if you only have one, because I think you need more than one of these in your deck. So it's like if you only have one and you're not having any value with it, I'm going to say for your case, get rid of it. Let's go over him right here. He's a tricky one. He's only going to work in certain specific decks. He's not a card you see get played a lot. I'm going to say you can go ahead and soul trap it. So that's just up to you if you think you have some value from this. If you want to use it, use it. It's not going to be able to help you out in a Mage Prophecy deck all that much. So if you have one, get rid of it. Get the cards you actually do need. Dawn's Wrath is a card I personally think you should keep. It's going to be very valuable in a lot of decks down the line, and getting 3 of them is going to be something you might want to do. So I'm personally going to say keep Dawn's Wrath. Some people will disagree with me on that, but I have 3 of them for a very good reason, because in certain decks it just works out pretty damn well to be able to clear one whole entire lane and just keep it moving on turn 8. So let's go back into it. For legendaries, really the cards you're gonna have to keep is the Dragon Barn. Such a great card late game. You want to keep the Black Dragon. I'm gonna say if you could have more than one of Descendant Akatosh, keep them because you don't want to get all three. But feel free to definitely get rid of Renowned Liege. Definitely get rid of Dawnbreaker. Definitely get rid of the Sentry if you don't feel like you're gonna be using this in your deck. But definitely keep Dawn's Wrath. So that's just my quick opinions right there. Those cards. Let's move on to something else over into Intelligence real quick. So. In Intelligence, if you have the Dark Brotherhood, don't keep this card. It's a fun card to play with in casual. If you get it in something, let's say like Solo Arena, if you get it during rank, no, not rank arena, but you know, get into regular arena or Chaos Arena, that's a good card. But it's not going to be something you see played too heavily in casual or even rank matches. I like having this card, but it's not something I would say. I would say soul trap this in a heartbeat, get those 400 soul gems to get something better. Supreme, keep this. Keep 3 copies of this. This card is oh so good. This card is an amazing card, one of the best cards in the game. Definitely keep this. You might want to even have 3 copies just because of the fact that there are some decks you might want to use 3 copies in. Isabel the Archmage, I think this is a good card. It's not going to work out in every deck. I'm going to say at least keep 1. If you have more than 1, you could get rid of it. But it's a good 8-turn card that can help you do some damage. And it can wipe the opponent's field. It's a pretty good card for Intelligence, of course. Staff of Spark is something I recently just finally added to my deck as I'm trying to complete the whole entire collection. I don't think this is an essential card in any ways. Like I said, a lot of the legendary items being 6 cost, there's a lot of other ways to get items in this game for cheaper that are very more effective. I mean, the situations of being able to use this to the max ability, I say you could soul trap this in a heartbeat when it comes to Staff of Sparks. On the other hand, Mentor's Ring. Depending on what you're trying to do, Mentor's Ring may be a very good card for you. If you're doing something like I'm doing in this deck right here, this is my Prophecy, here it is. This is a Prophecy deck that I'm currently playing. Let me see if this is the right one. That's just completely for fun, where I have health creatures. So like I have right here, she has Drain, and then I could put out the Mentor's Ring with this on turn 6 and give every other creature I have on the field Drain. Or if I get myself a Prophecy Moonlight Werebat, then on the turn when I actually do get myself the Mentor's Ring, use Mentor Ring on Moonlight Werebat and all the other creatures that I have in this deck that many of them have Prophecy, they'll automatically get me health, and that'll be an easy way for me to gain health back in this Prophecy modded deck that I currently I'm showing you right here. This is kind of an expensive deck though, so I'm not saying for somebody to go buy this, build this when they just start playing the game. Definitely not. But anyways, that's just a deck I like having fun with right there. That's why it has 54 cards. But that's why I would say, like, for Mentor's Ring, it'd be something you want to keep and you want to build on. That's one of the few items that I'm going to say you might want to keep that one. Okay, Dragfall Mage. You want 3 copies of this card. One of the another key cards in Legends for a lot of Intelligence decks, Mage decks. You might even want to throw it in there. So I'm going to say keep this one. This card, a lot of people love it in high level play. So I'm going to say early game, Soul Trap. Early game. If you're just starting out playing this game, this card might be hard for you to build in your deck unless you have the right cards 100% to build a deck where this is going to come in handy. You could get this card in your deck and just keep playing and hardly ever have a chance to even play it. I'm going to say early on, if you're just starting out playing Legend, Soul Trap, there's a lot of better rare or epic cards you could get, or even common cards that might be a little bit more worth it to have in your deck. It's not a bad card at all. It's just that you need to think very smart about adding it into your deck. So with that out of the way, we're just going to quickly go over some other cards for other attributes that you can Soul Trap or keep. But once again, Supreme, definitely keep it. Keep 1 Archmage. Keep as many Mentor Rings and Dragfall Mages as you possibly can, especially Daggerfall Mage. I would say Drag, but Daggerfall Mage. And these 2, I would say Soul Trap them immediately. Definitely Soul Trap Staff of Sparks. So for, let's say you're not going to be planning to play with anything in red, cards to keep in red, or real quickly, Relentless Raider, keep 3 of these if you could possibly can. Reeve the Blade Master, keep this excellent card right there. Blood Dragon is one of those cards that if you're going to be playing red, you're going to eventually want to have this card. Even 1, 2. If you have 2, you may be able to Soul Trap 1. It's a good card, but if you have a deck that could use it correctly, it's a good card to have. When you don't have it and you want to build a deck, you're going to be upset at yourself. If you're going to be playing Orcs, there's 100% you want to keep this card. If you're not playing Orcs, you could get rid of it. This is just an excellent card if you're going to be playing Orc decks. If you have no interest in ever playing Orcs, there's no reason to keep this one here. Vigilant Giant is one of those high-level play cards as well. A lot of people like using it late game, so I will say keep 1 of these. You may not need 3 of these. So if you have more than 1, Soul Trap it, obviously, guys. Alright, so let's move on from there into endurance. So for agility, sorry. This is probably the one card that everybody keeps. No one I know would soul trap this card. Great, one cost, legendary. Keep this card. It's good in almost every agility deck. Not every one, but almost. Once again, another card from the Brotherhood. I would say keep this one. Thieves Den, I would never say have more than 2 of them, because rocking 3 of these in your deck would probably weigh it down. So always keep at least 1 Thieves Den, 2 if you're like me who likes playing this card, but 3 is, if you have 3 for some reason and you got it from packs or whatever it might be, soul trap it and be feel fine. A lot of people like playing this in casual. I don't think this is a great card. This is me. Once again, guys, I'm not no pro. I think you can soul trap this card and feel perfectly fine. Having to build around a deck right now for last grass is just not something I personally like. I don't think when I play those decks I lose enough. I don't feel like if I use these cards it happens enough. I just think for 5 costs, this card is just not that great for me. The Burglar, one of my favorite cards in the game. You don't need to have 3 of them. If you could have 2 or 1, that's perfectly fine. It's not something essential you need to have in your decks, but it's a pretty good card to gain drain. If you're playing a Pilfer deck, it's definitely going to be really well to work with something like Master of Thieves. This card, you can soul trap immediately. You do not need to have this card. There are a lot of other ways to get a bunch of creatures on the field, and if this card gets silenced, well, that's actually in your favor. If this card gets killed with only 2 defense, it basically kills all your spiderlings. So I say get rid of this card, get the 400 soul gems immediately. You don't need to have it, trust me. Alright, the Packmaster is a card that I made a mistake with very early on. I got this in my first few months of playing the game from a pack, and I didn't think I was going to need it. I was like, I don't need this card. This is when it was even stronger, and I soul trapped it. I regretted it immediately. It took me a long time to get it back, so definitely keep the Packmaster. It's a great finish off card these days, and definitely in rush decks. It's really pretty good. And I don't mean like rush decks that try to win by 6 turn. I mean like rush decks that try to be very aggressive and win like around 9 or 10. It's one of those cards that will help you win on your 9th turn for sure. Nest of Vipers, I personally love this card, but you don't need more than 1 of them. It's one of those cards that could really help you survive like a game-ending situation. It's like the closest thing you could get for a lane wiping situation. Like let's say if you're in the field lane, it's their version of Dawn's Wrath. It's just like you actually get creatures here and it costs us 2 more. I personally like this card. I say have 1 of it, but if you don't need it currently, you can get rid of it. If you're not playing with a lot of lethal creatures or lethal combos with something like this card, then it's fine to get rid of something like this if you're not thinking you're going to be playing with something like Nest of Vipers right now. Moving on there over to Endurance. Okay, so Endurance is kind of a little weird right now, because there's a lot of great cards here, and there's a lot of great cards that you don't really actually need most of the time. Iron. Great card. You're not going to need it most of the time. You could live without this card. So I would actually say go ahead and soul trap it. It's a good card. Waiting to 12th turn to use this card is not really worth it in most cases. Instead of using this card, I would definitely say use something like O'Haven right over here. Like that would be a better replacement for him in my personal opinion. He instantly goes on the field and instantly gives you some effect. Let's talk about Ninth Town Lord. I personally have 2 of them because I like using the card because I just think it's kind of messed up to steal the opponent's monster. But I usually use this in decks that I'm just messing around with. It's not something I use in anything that would be considered rank. I say if you want to keep one, but you don't even, I would say okay if you're starting out playing to just go ahead and soul trap it. There's so many other ways to gain drain these days for a cheaper amount of cost that I would be okay with you soul trapping Ninth Town Lord early on. Moving on from there, Blood Magic Lord. Blood Magic Lord is an absolutely epic card. I really do highly recommend you keep these cards. Even when you have 2, keep them and go for 3. I will say once you start playing this game for a long amount of time, there's going to become a time when you're going to want to have a lot of these in your deck because they're going to be your win card. Great card. Never soul trap it. Everybody hates seeing this card if they're your opponent. If they do not have silence, they have to use something that clears the whole entire field like Dawn's Wrath to get rid of this card. It's such a good card. I really highly recommend you keep this every single time you have it. Bone Colossus, to this day, I just don't find this card that great for me. I know the uses of it, but unfortunately, I would say go ahead and soul trap it immediately, unless you're building a deck around something that would actually take advantage of his ability, or using it with Necromancer's Armlet, where creatures die, you gain health back. Don't really need it. Another card that is good, but once again, if you have to build a deck around it, or not really specifically it, but it has to work with the rest of your deck, having every creature in your one lane have lethal is not bad at all, but there's a lot of other ways to get lethal to creatures, and this has a 6-cost card. It's not that great. I say soul trap it immediately. I say if you have this card, keep it. It's a fun card. Good. This card, never soul trap it. It's going to be very useful for you eventually. It's so good. Black Marsh Warden. I like this card. I don't know what other gamers really think about it who play Legend. I always keep at least one because I think it's a fun card. So I say once again, just keep one Black Ward Marshal. And let me pause for one moment and fix my damn fire detector that keeps beeping. I don't know why. One moment. Just like that, I'm back. And I'm sorry about that, guys. There was a split second for you, but it took a minute for me. My fire alarm just kept on being annoying. So let's move on over to... Actually, I should have did this so I had showed you all the cards. Let's move on over to here. So this is where it kind of gets a little tricky. I personally hate this card. I don't think it's a very great card. I understand people think it's a javelin that survives. I've seen people use it good. I'm gonna say soul trap it. If they want to keep it, you could keep it if it works for you. And you have one, keep it. But I'm gonna say soul trap it. There's so many other ways to get lethal creatures on the field, and that could survive a lot better than she can. I just say no. This card, once again, I'm going to say soul trap it as well. Not a bad card, but there's so many other ways to get a 5 like guards in red or in willpower that I'm going to say is fine. Soul trap it. Merrick, don't get rid of this card. One of the best cards in the game to turn very small minions into very powerful creatures on turn 7. Really great when you combo it with 0-cost creatures like, let's just show you, which is pretty obvious to anybody playing it for a while, the Firebrand. But if you've never been playing this game for a long time, obviously it won't be that obvious. So Firebrand plus Merrick is like a deadly combo right there. Let's keep on going then. Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth is a card that I personally like, but I would say it's okay tonight to go ahead and soul trap it. Only reason I say this is because in these two attributes, especially, you could get drained other ways. Like I said, Mentor's Ring in here, like plus the draining factor from all the agility creatures really works out if you're playing these two combos. So it's not an essential card. I use it, so I'm gonna say for me it's fine to keep because I've been playing for so long time. But if you just got a card, you don't need to keep this one. You don't need to have it in every deck that you're gonna be playing agility and intelligence together. Anansi is what I like to call a comeback card. This card could change the flow of the game. It gives steal, charge, drain, ward, guard. It steals everything. So I think it's a really important card to have if you're going to be playing something that's going to be rocking. Well, you know, if you think your opponent's going to be using a lot of creatures that's going to have a lot of freaking keywords, yeah, you want to have a Nancy. Don't ever get rid of this. This card is essential in many decks. Not essential, but it's a very good card. Another great card right there. Another great card right here. You can soul trap this if you're not playing with orcs or you can't find a good place in your deck. This is a good card, but it's such an easy, like, people destroy this card before you get more than 2 to 3 turns of use of it. Like, once they see what it does, summons creatures from your decks for free. It's such an easy target. It's such easy, and as a 6 cost, I really just don't like where it stands at 6. So I would say soul trap this card. Even as somebody who plays orcs a lot, I don't really play with this card too much, just because I prefer to put in other creatures that could like hit faster than actually having this in my deck. It's not a bad card. It's just like it's such a high priority target for anybody you're playing against. They always gonna go for this card immediately, always. All right, let's keep on going from there. Over here. Okay. Shadow Mare. Once again, if you're in the Dark Brotherhood, keep it. Keep these. You can't soul trap these, unfortunately. Monday Stone never soul trap this card. It's probably one of the best support cards in the game. Turns your little minions into having keywords that could be very useful to you. Wabajack, you go feel free to soul trap. This is not a bad card, but it's more or less for trolling, and it's a random number generator fun. You'll never know what you're gonna get. I personally, let's go over to Orb. I personally don't think this is all that of a great card overall for rank play, so I'm going to say Soul Trap Orb. Alter Despair, I'm going to say it's a pretty good card. I say if you got one from a pack or something like that, and you don't have a deck in mind to build around it, you might want to Soul Trap it right now, but eventually you might want to try out some decks with Alter Despair. It's not a bad deck, but you're going to have to build around it for sure. I like it. Gold Brand is one of those cards I made a mistake early game by getting rid of. I'm going to say actually keep this because eventually you're going to want to use this one. Gold Brand is a good card, and it really can change the flow of the game. Just being able to destroy creatures that have 2 defense and 4 and 6, it really messes with your opponent's head seeing this card on the field. They have to think very smartly about what card they want to play next. It really can mess up their flow. So I'm going to say keep Gold Brand, but you're going to have to think smart what deck does it work with. O'Haven, don't soul trap this card. Just keep it. You'll eventually find a use for it. So those are basically just the legendary cards. I wanted to start out with legendaries just because of the fact that you might get some from a pack or whatever, and you're trying to see like, oh man, I really want that 400 soul gems to do something with it. Now let's go into rare cards. I'll go through these a lot more quickly. I'm going to still start off with Intelligence. Blood Sorceress, if you have this card, I would say keep this. Eventually you're going to have some uses for it. Spy Master is not a bad card once again, but early on it's very random, and you may not want to play so randomly early on, so I'm going to say go ahead and soul trap this. Eventually you might want to add it to some of your decks for fun, but right now soul trap it, you'll be fine. Moment of Clarity, once again, super random early on when you start playing the game. You don't want to be playing so random. You want to play something more consistent, so soul trap to get rid of it. Shaman Peddler, you're going to want to at least keep 1 or 2 of these cards like I have, so don't soul trap it unless you have more than 2. Wisdom of the Ancients, once again, very random. I like random, but I know most people don't, and especially when you're starting the game, soul trap these, you'll be fine doing that. Brilliant, put a copy of a card. I don't think you're going to need more than 2 of these cards, really, because the cost went up from 2 cost to 3, and now there's 3. I don't use it as much, so I would just say keep 2 and then get rid of 1. Dark Rift, another card that's not a bad card if you get it early game. When you started playing, I will say at least keep 2 of these, and you can get rid of the 3rd one. You don't need 3 of these. You would hardly ever get a chance to use all 3 in one game. Another card that's going to be very random, but god darn, I like it. So I'm going to say keep 1 just because eventually you're going to want to use these cards, but you don't need more than 1 of these right now. Keeper of the Whisper, I have these because I got them from packs and I just haven't soul trapped them. They're okay cards, but really, you could get rid of them. You're going to want to keep all 3 of these. Eventually they will work out quite well for you down the line once you build decks around them. Ice Wrath, I don't think these cards are valuable anymore. I think back in the day they were great cards. I don't think they're really needed anymore. Dragon Rider combos well with some Pacific decks, especially with you started with Strength. Combo with Strength, that is. Winter's Grass, keep all 3. Don't get rid of it. If you get this card, soul trap it immediately. It's not a bad card, but in a sense, you're going to need to make sure that you have a deck that works around its ability, and I don't like building my deck around its ability. So that's why I say get rid of this card. I just don't think it's really worth it for the cost of this card. The Great Sword, you want to keep at least 1 of these. You're not going to need 3 of them, but 1 is fine. Once again, it's another one of those cards that I'm going to say you're going to be able to get it from using a plunder. So why add this to a deck if you're going to be playing, let's say if you're playing with Intelligence and Strength, you better off having 3 plunders instead of having 1 Great Sword. Just my personal opinion there. Icy Storm, you're going to want to at least keep 2 of these. Great cards, going to be able to clear the field. Great in Mage. Massive Arms, great card, keep every 1. Soul trap every 1 of these you get early on. Soul trap them. This card could screw you over by giving your opponent's cards. Soul trap them. Soul trap this card as well. You almost never see this card getting played. I play it sometimes in my Prophecy decks just for the lulz, but I'm not going to be taking it into rank much. This card is damn good when it works, but if you don't get it set up correctly, it is not going to work out for you. I would actually say keep 1 so you can eventually try it and see if it's going to work out with you if you're going to be playing with a lot of actions. But you're not going to need to have 3 like I do. It's just the fact that I don't really need the soul gems right now, so I'm not going to be bothering soul trapping anything right now. Wish Mother is a great card that I'm going to tell you to soul trap. Its effect is not bad at all, but it is a lot of luck to get it working correctly, because this is another one of those cards that once your opponent sees it, the opponent's going to want to get rid of it. Your opponent do not want you to get more than 2 turn value out of this card. And as a 7 cost card, that's up to 9. That's up to not turn 9. Turn 10 is going to be dead, and you may have not got enough value to win the game. Great card, but once again, it might be better off to just put more monsters in there that cost less to be able to do more damage. It's great when it happens, but I don't think it's worth it right now. Alright, let's go on over to Willpower. So Willpower, we got Blackmail. Soul Trap these cards. I know why people play it to get a free card, but no, Soul Trap it. Unless you just can't get to 50 cards in your deck for some reason early on, I'm going to say Soul Trap it, get the Soul Gems, and get something else. Another card that I'm going to say Soul Trap, I see a lot of people play this card, but I just think it's not that great of a card. Personally, I really just don't like this card. I think starting out with 0-3 and then getting stronger as your opponent as your attack is like so risky, because now as somebody's opponent who sees this card on the field like knows, oh, so you have to attack. I know your strategy off the bat. You have to attack with your creatures. I know that you're gonna either have to attack by runes to get stronger, or it's just gonna sit there. So to me, it's just like, okay, I'll deal with that card. And at a 3 defense, that's a crushing blow. There's so many things that could take care of this card. Silence. I don't think this card is worth trying to focus up on. It's been so very rare that I've actually seen somebody get this card up to a really high amount by attacking. Now, if they put an item on this card to give it some defense, or put a ward on it, then maybe it'll be a bit more effective. Great card. Don't get rid of it. You're gonna have to level up pretty high to get it to the point where you get its drain effect. I think this is a level 48 when you finally gets it leveled up to get the Ravenous Hunger. Great card. Don't get rid of it. You'll see a lot of people playing with this card. If you play with a lot of action and like what it does, then yeah, I'm gonna say Soul Trap it, just because I feel like it's not a necessity, and you don't know which card's gonna get powered up, and which that could be a really big risk. So I'm like, because of the because it could get powered up, or another creature that you really want to get powered up. So I'm gonna say Soul Trap it. Don't really try to focus on playing off of his ability too much. Keep these cards. They can help you come back. Breaking a rune and gaining health is an amazing ability. Great card. Elsewhere, Lookout. I love these cards because I like pilfer decks, but Soul Trap them. Yes, you can win like in 2-3 turns with this card, but it's hard to pull off. It's really hard to pull off. Once it's on the field, 2-3 turns after that, you can pull it off, but your opponent's going to be trying to kill this card so easily, and if it gets silence, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you. Pit line, I'm going to say at least keep 2 of these. If you eventually work with a deck that's going to have a lot of creatures on the field, being able to throw out a 5/5 on turn 3 is an amazing ability. Tower Alchemist, great card as well if you're playing with a lot of support abilities, but I'm going to say you're not going to need more than 2 of these, so I'm not going to say keep 3 of them around like I am. Alpha would Soul Trap this card immediately. Just do it. Don't think about it. Do it. Keep this card. It's a good card when it happens in Prophecy. You combo this with Execute, it's going to be working out very well for you. You might want to even put this in your Mage Prophecy deck. This card, it was recently buffed. I will think you want to at least keep 2 of them, because if you're going to be playing with supports, especially stuff like Divine Favor, you want to be able to draw those cards when you need them. So I'm going to say keep 2 of them. You're not going to play with them too much, but when you do want to use the supports later on in the game, you want to help something to help you draw those cards like this. So keep at least 2, just to have it. Hero, get rid of this card. Soul Trap it. You don't need it. I know its effect seems kind of cool. Get rid of it. Imperial Might, you could only just keep 1. I like this card a lot because I like spamming the field, but you're not going to be doing what I'm doing in rank most times, because I'm kind of stupid. I like to just try and dumb things. So I'm going to have 3 of these in a deck, but I'm going to say in general, don't do that. Don't put 3 of these in a deck. In general, keep 1 and just play off of 1. Keep 3 of these. House Carl is really a cool card. It's a great prophecy card. It has a lot of playability, being able to give another creature 2/2 guard, or give itself 2/2 guard. Could save your butt a lot. Pillaging Tribune, keep 3 of these. Get 3, keep them. Good card. I wouldn't say have more than 2 of these cards. I know why a lot of people play them, but it's not something you need 3 of them. It's at a 5 cost. I don't really like. It's a bit like, I prefer having Pillaging Tribune compared to having this card. Here's one that I know many people don't play in rank, but there are decks that really do work well with this, especially playing with something like Omelet, Necromancers. I'm gonna say at least keep 1 of them so you can play with it, but you don't need 3 of them. I have 3 of them because I have decks that really work well with them. You want 3 of these cards. You want 3 of these cards immediately. For your Mage deck, if you're playing Control Mage, get this immediately. Get 3. This is the card you're going to be if you don't have 3 of these already, start Soul Trapping some of those other cards I talked about that you may not need to get 3 of these. Great card right there, guys. Alright, Mage Slayer, a good card. Its effect is really interesting just because of the fact that, well, it can't be hurt by actions. If you be able to power this card up with enough plunder or items put on it, well, it'll work out really well for you. So I'm going to say keep these cards when you get them. Keep all the plunders you get. I'm going to say unless you're going to be playing around with this card in the long run, get rid of it, because of plain simple fact, hurting yourself is such a risky thing. There's so many times that I have an opponent put this card out there and end up killing themselves with it because of the fact it deals 2 damage to the owner. So like they'll hit me a lot, give me a bunch of cards through the rune system, and then I'm hitting them right back, and then eventually before they know it, like, oh, I'll just end my turn and I'll win the game because you hurt yourself. I don't think it's a card to keep. Don't think it's a card to keep as well. Soul trap this. Feel fine about doing it. Cultists, keep 3 of these cards because eventually you might want to put together a deck where you're going to be stopping your opponents from using actions, especially if you're going to be doing stuff like orcs. This works out well in orc decks. Good card, keep them. Great card, keep it. Once again, you got to make a deck around that works really well with this. This card usually works with this. These cards work together. So if for some reason you like how all this plays together, I guess you could keep all of them, but I don't. Lumber and Arc, I only keep 1 of them because I've had more, but I just don't like the fact that this card can't be in cover. It could win fast for you, but it's a risk. I don't like the risk that card brings. Fun card, you don't need 3 of them. You could keep 1 to try it out, see if that randomness works out for you, but once again, randomness is not what you really need when you start playing this game. You need a deck that's a little bit more consistent. Burn and Pillage is a great card, and it got a nerf a few months back. It's a tricky one. If you're going to be playing with a deck that you need to... If you have no other way to destroy monsters, you want to have some. But I'm going to say keep. I'm going to say keep Burn and Pillage because you're going to eventually want to use this card. Eventually, I've just found other ways to deal with creatures. Good Prophecy card, so keep 3 of these. Excellent card, top tier, keep every one. Good card these days, keep every single one. This card combos so well with Unstoppable Rage, which is another card, you should keep 3 of them. Another card, keep all 3. You have to build a deck that works well with items for her, so she's kind of a situation where, like, at a 6 cost, if you can't get an item on her, she's not going to be all that helpful overall, but when her effect goes into effect, it's kind of pretty darn cool. Stampede and Sentinel hasn't been as great as I wanted it to be, so I can say still trap these. The Forge is a good support card. You're not going to want to have 3 of them in a deck. Keep 1 and you'll be happy with 1. And from there, let's go on over to Agility. Alright, in Agility right here, ladies and gentlemen, we got Life Water Blessing. Life Water Blessing is a great card when you want to make stuff to combo with Drain creatures. I will say definitely have 2 of these. You don't need 3, and you may not even need it early game because of the fact that you may not be playing off the Drain keyword, or you may not even have enough cards that could do Drain. Good card with a risky ability because once it gets destroyed, it gives your opponent a guard creature. So unless you're playing Super Rush and you know for a fact that your deck is built to win very quickly before it dies, then you might not want to have 3 copies of this right away. You might want to learn how to play the game really well before you start playing with this card and mess up. You could soul trap these cards because of the fact that being able to steal items is not as useful as you really would think, because it's just not something you guarantee happen. Not many players play with items these days. Like, it was a big thing back in the day that a lot of decks had items, but I've seen so many decks that focus more on actions than items. And even when you steal these items, a lot of these items you're going to be stealing are items that increases your attack and not increases your defense. And it still only has 2 defense, so it may not be worth it. And there are so many better 3-cost cards in Agility that you could have that I would definitely say there's a lot of other cards to take. Like, I would take a House Kisman any day over taking Swindler. I just personally don't think the ability to be stealing items at a 3 cost is all that great. For me, just for me, I say soul trap them. Hidden Trail, you just need 1. You don't need to have 3 of these cards because they actually help your opponents too by making shadow lane on both lanes. Being able to give your creatures +1 is not bad, but I mean, there's a lot of other ways to give your creatures +1. Keep every one. Great card. You're gonna always want it. Keep every single one. Merc, keep all the goblins. I'm gonna say, guys, because if you ever put together a goblin deck, it's a very devastating deck. Swift Claw. Great Pilfer card. Great Pilfer card. Keep them. You're gonna eventually want to play with them. Keep at least 1 of these because you eventually want to see what its ability is like and see if it works really well for you. You're not going to need 3 of them, so if you get like 3 of them eventually, just soul trap 1. So keep 2. This card right here, the reason I have none is because I always soul trap it. I don't think this is a good card for 5 costs. Soul trap this card. For its cost, it's not good. That's literally why you don't see it in my deck, because I just don't think it's good. Another card that I understand why people want to play with it, but I'm gonna say soul trap. This is so rare that I lose because of its effect. After it attacks, it gives them cover. Now you could get rid of this card easily enough because it has 4 defense. So I'm gonna say get rid of this. Giant Snake have 3 of these cards because Shackle becomes a big thing in certain matches, especially if you're playing with certain cards. It could really work out well for you. Shackle's way more important than some people give it credit to be. The fact that your opponent cannot attack you is very valuable. It really is. Like, this whole entire lane gets shackled can help you win for the next turn. So like you use this Giant Snake, and then like on the next turn you use an Icy Storm. What's it called? Icy Storm or Icy Wind? Let me just. I always forget the name. Icy Storm. So the next turn you use Icy Storm. So say if the your opponent's creatures all have 3 health. It's a really good combo. Works out real well in a lot of decks. Okay. One of those cards, once again, you have to try it for yourself and see if you're going to want to work with it. It's not a bad card, but you're not going to see it played too much in rank because obviously you need to be able to gain health for its effect to really work out well. I do have a deck built around that, which is right. Healthy 50. This deck is literally built around using a card like this and powering it up. I should do a video on this soon and show you guys what this deck is like. It literally gets this card up to like 12 to 15 attack just because of how much health I'm gaining. Lurker, keep these cards. Great card. Good card if you're playing with Brotherhood Sanctuary. You want to keep at least 1, maybe 2. You don't need 3. I have 3 just because I already had it. Great card when you start playing the game. It could be very valuable to you in early ranking. Yeah, keep these. Just keep them. Smuggler's Hall, keep 2 of them. It's it's random. Once again, sometimes it's hard playing with random. But this is the type of random you could play out really well with Hex Mage. So having Smuggler's Hall plus a Hex Mage on the field could really like work well together depending on the type of cards you get, whether they're monsters or whether they're actions. Smuggler's Hall, I'm going to say keep these when you get them. While Beast Caller, I will say to soul trap them. It's not a bad card, but this is the type of random I don't like because it's a 6 cost and it could give you a damn mud crab. It could give you a mud crab. I don't want a mud crab. Spider Lair, I want this card to work every time I have it, but it's a support card, and there are so many other supports in the game that you have to build a deck around this in the sense of working really well, that I'm going to say just keep 1 to try it, and if you don't like what you get from Spider Lair, then just soul trap them. It's not something essential to any deck. Great card. Great damn card. Keep these because you want to eventually use it. This was last month's reward. No, it was a month before that, I think. No. Soul trap these. They're not essential. They're not. They're good cards, but they're not essential. They really are not. Alright, let's go on over to Endurance. Keep these. You eventually want to play with them. Soul trap these unless you want to really risk somebody taking it out before you ever get a value out of it. I mean, if you are able to have it and then silence it, then be able to attack with it. But that's like you have to use 2. You have to use 2 cards. You have to play this and play another card to get it to work immediately, and that's like a risk. But it's not a bad card. It's just I'm gonna say soul trap it because it's a risky card. It really is. Having a full lane. Keep these for orcs. Like I said, keep all the orc cards in general because you're gonna want to mix and match to see what works best for you. I have my personal orc deck. Some people play a little bit different. This is not a bad orc card at all. I don't think this card is overall that great, but it's good when you want to complete quests. So there's some quests that are going to make you want to heal your own creatures. So you want to keep at least 1 of these because it might help out with that. Regenerate, not a bad card, you know, +1, +3. Once again, my problem with this card though is the cost, so I soul trap it. And playing for Regenerates is not something I play towards. I don't think Regenerate is the best ability in the game overall. I like lethal, I like wards. I just play like I'm just not the biggest fan of Regenerate, so that's why I soul trap it, but I'm not gonna hurt or blame anybody for keeping it. So if you want to keep this, that's up to you. That just depends on your play style. I don't play around Regenerate. I really just don't. Hiss Grove, keep these late game. And as you play the game more, you're gonna want to have these. Necromancer Omelet is not something you're gonna need for rank play at all, because you're going to probably want to play a little bit more quicker than that. So you probably only want to keep 1 of these to try them out. And then if you like them, then you go get more of them eventually. But it's not something key to any really deck. Once again, something that has regenerate its effect. If it happens, it's amazing. But if it doesn't, it sucks. This card is a good card. I have a deck built around this, and when it works, comboing this with Necromancer's Armlet is great. But it's hard to play with this card. It really is. So this is one of those cards that you're going to have to look at yourself and say, like, do I want to make a deck around it? So I find a deck on Legends that's deck, and do I think it's going to work? Another card similar to this one right here that it's a risk at a 4 cost. 7/7 is excellent. Every time you attack, you're going to be breaking an opponent's rune, though. That's one thing with that. And you have to silence your own creature to really get the most value out of it. And that's risky. Silence these, soul trap these cards, because at a 4 cost, you hardly ever get enough use out of them in high rank play. That even once you start playing this game a lot, you're not going to see people play this card very much. Excellent card. Preserve the root, keep them. Good card. Keep 1. Keep 3. Keep 1. Flesh. Keep 1. See if you like it, and then play more if you want. Soul trap these. Once again, not the biggest fan of regenerate. The breakthrough is great. Keep at least 2 of these. Good cards, but there are a lot of great ways to get drained these days too. And keep 1. You don't need 3 of these. It's a hard card to pull off, and being able to have 2 of these on the field will be insane. So just keep 1. Let's go on over here. Good card. Keep 3. Most of the dual attributes you're going to want. Like, dual attributes, there are very few of them, I'm going to say, for your soul trap. So I'm just going to tell you which one to soul trap. And the one I would say to soul trap is this one right here. Because destroy all wounded enemy creatures in this lane. You have to have wounded enemy creatures to begin with. So as having 5/5 is not even like, this is 5/5. And it's a 5 cost. And its effect is better. This is 8. And 5/5 and just destroys wounded enemy creatures. No. Soul trap these cards. Unless you have a deck based around this, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Another one right here. Not that great. You don't even see it get played that much. It's not a bad card, but as a 6 cost, it's not a great card. And there's other cards you could play that are way more valuable than it. That's the issue there. Never get rid of Master of Thieves. Just saying that in general. This is a new card. I like it. It's in my healthy 50 deck. Fun. Keep all 3. Never get rid of them. Never get rid of Hiss Mage. Great card. And overall, let's get into where you could probably get rid of a lot of stuff. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys to do. Dwarven cards, the Dwimmers, get rid of all of them early game. Because unless you're trying to make a deck around them, or unless you're trying to do the daily quests, it's okay to get rid of these cards. Let's just talk about that. This card, you don't need this card. This card, you really don't need this card. They're too random. They're just too random. Mechanical Ally. I like these cards, and I have Dwarven decks. I'm like, literally, I have a deck that I was playing with them recently. But get rid of these cards. You don't need the Dwemer card like this. You don't need Forsaken Champion. You don't need these cards early on. They're epic cards, and you don't need this armor right here. You don't need the Hall. Illusionary Mimic. You're going to want to try this card and see if it works for you, but you may not need this, so you might be able to soul trap it. You don't need this card. Like, a lot of these cards right here. This is the Illusionary Mimic is the only one I'm going to tell you to keep. Everything else here, you could soul trap this early game and feel fine getting 100 for having it. I'm just going to tell you that right off the bat. And with that out of the way, let's go on down to rare. I'm going to do rare very quickly just to get through it, because there's a lot more rare cards. Close call. Keep 1. Soul trap immediately. Keep 1. Soul trap. Soul trap. Oh man, used to be such a great game. Early game, as if you're not down into rank 5 or below, I'm gonna say keep these cards because they could work out very well. Keep these cards. You might want to have something that destroys supports, so keep those. Let's go into intelligence because you're gonna be playing intelligence. Keep. Get rid of. It's too risky. Keep 2 of these. Keep all these. Keep all these. Just gonna go through it very quickly. Not gonna really explain it too much because the video's getting long already. For right here, Ash Servant. I don't think these cards are that great. I'm gonna say soul trap them. I have them, but get rid of them. You're just gonna need to have 2 of these. You don't need 3. Keep all 3. Keep 2 of these. Keep 3. Keep 3. Eventually, you're gonna want to. There's some interesting decks you could do with this. So I'm gonna say keep these, keep her, 2 at least. Keep you're not gonna be able to use 3, so I'm gonna say keep at least 2. Maybe you're gonna use 2. She is not as great as she looks. Soul Trap her, Soul Trap, Spear of Embers. Keep 3 of these. Never get rid of these cards because eventually you're gonna have a deck where you're gonna want to use them in. Let's go into Willpower. Keep these. Soul Trap all of these. Keep all this. Never get rid of them. Keep 2 of these. Keep 3. Never Soul Trap. These, just keep 1. You're not going to need more than 1. Never Soul Trap. This is on you. If you want to keep this an item, I always say there's other ways to get items. Not the best item in the game either. Soul Trap all wolves. Wolves are not that great right now. Keep 2 of these. You're not going to need 3. Keep 3. Keep at least 2. Keep 3. This is keep 1. Try it out. See if you want to work it with a move-in deck. There's a lot of ways to power these cards up to make it a lot better. And you're going to have the items or the creatures to combo with it to make it really strong. This card can get very dangerous in the long run. Soul Trap all 3 of these. It seems very good early game when you just start playing out, but it's not all that great. I know you get 2 free monsters, but it's not all that great for a support. There's other supports you might want to actually use. And I'm saying Soul Trap here, guys. And remember, normally I would never tell you to Soul Trap a rare card. A rare card only gives you 20 soul gem, but eventually you're gonna be in a situation where you just need 20 more. You can't do the daily quests anymore. There may not be, you may have already done 300 of the soul gems, and if you need 20, you need 20. If you have to soul trap something, you have to soul trap something. And so if it's gonna be this card, it's gonna be this card. That's just how it's gonna be. So I'm gonna tell you guys out there what you could do. That's what this video is all about. Hive Defender, keep 3, never get rid of them. You really only need 2 of these cards. They're very rare decks out there that you could use 3, but it's one of those cards that, because of its defense, it's so open to get destroyed, and at a 4 cost, it's not like you're gonna be putting them down all that quickly without leaving yourself open for attack. Because if you put one down turn 4, then at turn 5, and then at turn 6, all the same time, you have no defense on the field unless you were putting down defensive cards before that. Keep all 3 of these. This is a fun card to play with, but once again, it's very random. So I'm gonna say keep 1, try it out, then decide for yourself. But I'm gonna say, yeah, only one. War Cry, keep 3. If I could use 4 in the deck, I would in some decks. This card could give you the game. This card is a very interesting card when you are playing with a lot of freaking action. It could summon some great stuff out of your deck if you play it right. I highly recommend you play with these cards, see if it works out well, and then go from there. This card is interesting when you first start not playing. It can power up really quickly, but I just don't think it's all that good of a card. I just personally, my opinion, a lot of people play it, but you have to have a deck that works with it. So I'm gonna say Soul Trap it, but that's up to you, really. Keep these. They're gonna be good card overall. And Agility, keep them. Eventually there's gonna be decks you want to play with them. You only need 1. Keep 1. Eventually you might have a deck you want to play with this. Keep all 3. Never get rid of it. Never Soul Trap this card. Very good card. Giant Ball, once again, I'm going to just say at least keep 1 because you want to see if you want to play with some decks that work well with this. Murkwater Witch, Goblin, keep it. Good card overall. Snake Tooth Necklace was nerfed, but still a great card, so keep all 3. These is a weird situation where it's not a bad guard, it's not a bad prophecy, but there are other guards out there and a lot of other attributes that could do similar amounts of defense and similar amount of attack, and maybe even have lethal, may have other things with them. So I'm gonna say, see if you need it. If you have no other choice to soul trap something, you can soul trap it, but it's not a bad card. Smuggler, keep them. This card early game is gonna be very powerful for you, so I'm gonna say keep it. This card, I'm going to say Soul Trap. It seems really good, negative, but at 3 costs, that's the issue. The 3 costs makes it hard. Goblin, good card, keep it. This card, keep 2, you don't need 3. Keep 3. Swift Strike, dangerous card, very, very dangerous. Swindler's Market, very dangerous with a comboing into something like Goblin and then using stuff like Curse or other 0 cost cards. So I'm going to say play around with this, see decks on Legends as deck that use this, and maybe even want to make a deck like this. Good card starting out. I don't play it anymore. I don't play this deck. I don't play this card at all in any of my decks anymore. But I know for a fact when you start not playing the game, its effect can be really useful for you. It gets destroyed and it's still another creature. I just find that I don't need a card like this. Good card. Keep it. Keep these cards. They're Vipers. There are certain decks that use them really well. Cliff Racer. Never Soul Trap. This thing will win you games. You can Soul Trap these unless you're playing with a deck that works really well with prophecies with it. This card could win you the game, or it could sit in your deck and not do much. Try it out and see what you think, and then go from there. Alright, let's go on over into Endurance. Suppress. Suppress is keep Soul Trap immediately. You get a better version of this card, obviously. You don't need any of these. Like, you literally don't need this card, because there is a better version of it right here. This is a better version of that, same as that card. So Elixir Vigor is trumped by Conflict. So yeah, and because this is a neutral card, it could be in any deck. So you definitely will never need this card. So you always could Soul Trap this if you need to Soul Summon something. Good card. You might want to keep 2, keep 3, not get rid of it. If you're gonna be playing Orcs, you're gonna want to at least have 2 of these. You don't need 3 of them though. You'll probably never use 3. You don't want to summon more creatures than having 3 of them on the field. Because it's a prophecy and lethal, I'm gonna say keep 3 of them, because there's a lot of decks that work combo with lethal and prophecy. So I'm gonna say keep them. Keep 3 of these. Good card. Keep 2 of these. Not a bad card, but you're still giving your opponent still has a monster. That's the whole thing with this card. That's what makes this card tricky. As a healing card, this is one of the better healing cards because it powers up your creature at the same time. So I'm gonna actually say keep 3 of them. It's a fun card to use when it works out right. Young Mammoth, never Soul Trap, one of the best cards in the game. Good lethal card. You decide on your own on this one, because it's not a bad card, but it's like you don't need to have your lethal creatures to have 3 attacks in general. And overall, I would prefer to have him, because when he kills somebody, he gains me Magicka, and I value having more Magicka early in the game than having a lethal creature that can survive a little bit longer. Just my personal opinion there. I mean, like, I've seen more people playing with this card and myself playing with this card versus this card. At the same 4 costs, this card might look worse because it has 1 and 4, but gaining an extra Magicka could win you the game early on. Keep all 3. Good card. Very, very dangerous card, in fact. Being able to summon things from the graveyard. Good card early game, so I'm going to say keep this. I think it's a good card to play with when you just start playing Legends. A little girl, keep all 3. It's a great way to gain Drain. It's a great way to put a card out there that might be bait. I call bait cards that your opponent are just going to kill immediately. When they see it, they want to destroy it immediately. But if they don't destroy it immediately, you get a great monster. And she turns into an excellent monster. This is a tricky one. I'm going to say early on you want to keep these, but eventually you're going to probably notice that you stop playing with this, because there are a lot of other guards out there, a lot of other ways to get good defensive creatures, because these are only 2/2. Yes, it gives you two creatures in both lanes, but once you get a lot of cards, you're going to see that you're not going to need this as much as you think. Decent card. Play with this, at least one of them, and see if it works out for you, because it could become very dangerous. Put on the right creature, defensive creature, but the thing to it is it's a 4-cost item, and as a 4-cost item, that's kind of high, but its effect could be very dangerous. It can make you win with certain cards. These cards are bad. I'm sorry. I've never lost because somebody, I shouldn't say never, I played thousands of games. It seems good. It seems. Summon, give all friendly guards +1/+2. That seems so useful. But man, you have to have enough guards in your deck, you have to have enough cards on the field, and you have to draw this to such at the right time. This card, I say Soul Trap it. I would have already Soul Trapped it if I needed the Soul Gems, but I actually don't. I really don't. Let me just Soul Trap these just because whatever. Yeah, don't need these cards. No, nope. Keep at least one of these and play with it. It's a hard card to pull off if you don't have your deck set up correctly. You're gonna want more than one in your deck, but if it seems like it's gonna work out with your deck, if you're keeping your health high, then it works out. But if you're trying to play a deck where you're gonna want to lose some runes to gain cards, then this card's not. If you think that you are gonna want to actually break runes to gain cards, don't put this card in your deck. Definitely don't. The Giant, I don't play with this card anymore. I played it with it when I first started playing it. Once again, another situation where it's not a bad card, 6/6/6, but there are a lot of other cards out there you can play. You can soul trap these cards. I think this is a really fun card. I like this effect. I like it just makes your opponent cards cost more, but you don't need it. Same thing with this card. These two cards you can get rid of freely. I already went over these. I think I didn't do strength, right? Did I go over these? Yes, I did. Alright, so strength. This is one of those situations where it's not a bad card, but you have to see if you need it. Once again, items are tricky because, like I said, especially for strength, plunder is such a great way to give you items. But I'm gonna say keep these. You're gonna find a use for them. Once again, orc card, not my favorite. Arc, I would say if there was an orc I was gonna soul trap, it would be this one. But I'm gonna say because orcs are so cheap to make, orc decks, and they win so easily because they're so quick. And like if you look at just like this orc deck that I have right here, which I'll put a link in the description for, it's a 50 card deck. Every single card in here is under 5 costs, except for I recently added this stupid thing in there to see if it works, but it really just does not work out well, so I'm gonna take it out. But basically everything in here is under 5 costs Magicka, and it works stupid well. If you took out, even if you took out the legendaries, like let's say you took out all the legendary cards I have in here, like right here, and Relentless, what is it, Reaver, you would still have a fairly decent, and this one right here, a decent deck. Like you really would. You just have Cultist stops your opponent from using any, doesn't stop your opponent from using actions, but it makes them cost more, which is a screw them. Actually, just for fun, I'm gonna make a fun deck right now. Ooh, I have an idea. This is just something I just came up with right now. For lulz, I'm gonna go take this into casual play and have some fun. I'm gonna get right back into the main video in a second, but I'm gonna add some of these cards into this deck and just have some fun in casuals. Just having cultists and having, yeah, Wrath will be funny. Like if I'm playing against somebody using intelligence with a lot of action, that's just annoying. This is just me having fun. This is what I do, guys. I do stupid things and then just try them out for fun. So there's something else I just want to try out. Fiery Imp, great card, never soul trap. Keep them. Intimidate, keep one. You're gonna want to use it eventually and try it out. Keep one. You don't need, oh, this is, sorry. Go back to rare. Keep these. They're decks that use them very well. Keep this good item card plus a silence. Keep them. Keep these. Never get rid of even one of these. They're a really good card and really work well with a lot of zero cost monsters. Keep these. Really good card once again. Orc, decent orc. Some people use them, some people don't. Decent card. Keep it. Decent, very good item, I would say, actually, because they put your creature back into cover. So I'll say keep it. Cast out, keep them. Never get rid of this card. Skeevers. This card is a very interesting card. Once you have 3 of them, keep them. If you're just starting out, actually, if you're just starting out, I say keep Skeevers. They're pretty good cards. You don't have to build too hard around making this card work. Keep all the orcs. Keep this early game. You could soul trap this. It's not that great because it only does 1 damage. I understand that it's one of the few ways that you could do like widespread damage in strength, but I just don't think it's that valuable early game when you just started playing, or like when you've been playing for months and you have more cards. Orcish Hammer, Warhammer that is. I keep 2 of them. I don't actually use it in any of my decks because, once again, I say there's a lot of other items that are common that work even better. Like the common items are really good. I'm just saying, just for me, that's what, like, this is such a good 1, 2, 2. Like this is why I'm like been so hesitant on recommending certain items, because this item is 1 cost, 2 is amazingly good. Like that is one of the best items in the game. And there are a lot of monsters that when you play them, they instantly give you items like her. she gives you a steel dagger. Like, that's great. When she dies, she puts an iron sword in your hand. So there's ways to get items without actually putting cards in your deck. So that's why I'm always hesitant to recommend certain items, because there are creatures that turn into items when they die from last grasp or give you when they summon. But I could say Bone Bow definitely is a good one, and I could definitely say that Assassin Bow is a good one as well. And she's a good card. Keep it. I see so many people play this card, and I'm gonna say keep it, but don't misplay it. Just because it's your 6th turn and you have more health than your opponent, sometimes you just need to be defensive. I'm just saying, be careful with this card. I've seen so many people put this card out there just because they're so far health, and that's the minute I win, because now I can just ramp up by putting a bunch of creatures out that they can't. They're drawing cards while I am putting creatures out to kill it and attack for the win. Like, I've seen people mess up with this card a lot. So be careful with it if you keep it. And I think that was basically it from everything from legendary to rare. Common cards, I'm really just not going to go over much, because it's very simple to see what not to keep. Like, this card, you're not going to need it, but that's like very, very obvious. But most of the common cards, they're not worth enough to actually soul trap, so I'm not going to go too hard on just tell you anything other than a real general look right now to see what you could get rid of. And like, so many of the common cards are actually pretty decent. Like, there are a lot of good common cards. Like, this card is not a bad card, but I could say soul trap it, because you're gonna get other cards that are actually a little bit more valuable. Like, I think this is such a good card compared to this card in general. Let's keep on going right there. I personally don't like this card. I see why people use it. I understand it. I just don't like it. It doesn't mean that's not valuable. Let's keep on going here. Anything else I can see really quickly in common, just to... You don't need to have this. There's other 6-cost cards in agility that I would prefer. Like, if you're gonna have that card in your hand, in your deck, unless you really don't have anything else in 6 costs, like, I would say use this. I would say use Smuggler Hall. I would say use Soul Rest. I would even say use Wild Beast Caller versus using this card. Just my personal opinion there. Once again, my opinion. Keep all these. Keep all these. Endurance has a lot of cards that you want to keep, because they, like, I'm gonna say everything I'm seeing right now in Endurance, keep every Endurance card usually, because the Endurance cards are really good support cards. Even like some of these cards you wouldn't think to, they actually are cards to keep, because there are a lot of decks that combo really well with a lot of stuff. Endurance is one of those. Endurance is probably the attribute that I would say overall most of the cards you're gonna want to keep in all situations. Endurance has cards that you're gonna want to play with eventually, and you want to try out. Only thing that might be counteractive to that is a healing card like this one. Like, that's one of the few situations where I'm saying, like, you may not want to actually use that card in general. But if you look into everything else, other than Imprison, and where was the other card? Sorry, I passed it already. This one right here. Everything else you basically want to keep in some format, 1 or 2. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very long video. Didn't expect it to be, but this is an updated video of what I've done in the past. In the past, I've done something like this before, just talk about which cards to keep, which cards to get rid of. And I felt like with all these new cards being added to the game currently, it's about time we talk about it. I'm going to have to do this again once the Skyrim hero cards come out, and I'm definitely going to be covering that. I'm sorry I haven't been making videos of late, but E3 has been happening this week, and I've been covering that on my main channel, the Untitled Game Show. So go check that out for a lot of E3 coverage and a lot of my opinions of this year E3. I personally think that the stuff that Bethesda showcased, a lot of the games I want to play, like Wolfenstein. I didn't like the trailer they put out there for Elder Scrolls Online, because that was so weird having these YouTubers do their reaction video and the audio wasn't that synced up that well. It was such a bad video to do for Elder Scrolls Online. What else did they show? They showcased Elder Scrolls Legends, Skyrim's, Fallout VR, Doom VR. I have HTC Vive right here. I'm not gonna pick it up. I have HTC Vive, so I'm definitely gonna be playing Fallout VR, Skyrim VR. Well, I don't have Skyrim VR coming to PlayStation VR, so I don't have a PlayStation VR, but I'm gonna be playing Fallout and Doom VR for sure. And some of the other games they showcase as well, like Dishonored 2 DLC. I'm definitely gonna eventually play that, because I do have Dishonored 2. I haven't even started it, but I do have it. So, but eventually I'm gonna play it, because I did like Dishonored 1. Anyways, that's been everything right there, guys. I'm gonna be bringing you guys more videos of Legends real soon. This is Beaky here with the Untitled Game Show. I hope you guys had fun watching. What I'm gonna do now is go mess around with this stupid thing that I just put together in casual and have some fun, because that's what I do. I'll record that and upload it probably another time just for a hell of it, in case you guys want to see it. Peace out.